What is up, everybody? We've got some world champions on the. We had in a Texas monthly restaurant tour tonight. We're going to be bringing it tonight, but you know what we got to do first? Let's play that 3-minute timer. Here we go.
I'm Magnum Marino, which you can go on.
This is Bill Purvis with Chicken Fried Barbecue, and you're watching the So Smoking Gooder Show. Boom.
I'm Phil Breeden, owner and founder of LC Barbecue, and you're watching the So Smoking Gooder Show.
Hey, what's up? I'm Cosmo, and you're watching the So Smoking Gooder Show. So grab a drink, park your ass, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button and ring that bell so you don't miss a thing.
Hey there, everybody. This is Aaron, the Retro Guy, host of the Morning Roast Radio Show, and you're locked in to the So Smoking Gooder Show. Give it to them, fellas.
All righty, what is up, Gooder Gang? Welcome to the show. You know what time it is. It's a little after 8 o'clock on a Wednesday, and we're already in May the 3rd, 2023. And you know where to be. That is right here watching the So Smoking Gooder Show. Some say, mainly me, the very best fake internet show on the planet. That's right, the So Smoking Gooder Show. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for finding us. However you found us. Some of you guys are watching on Facebook. Some of you guys are tuning in on YouTube. Some of you, maybe one of you, is watching on the Twitch. What is going on? I'm getting a little signal here. I hope you guys are doing well. It's great to see you guys on a Wednesday. Like I said, we've got a great show for you tonight. We've got a 7-time world champion. He's returning to the show. But the last time that he did a show was kind of like a remote deal from El Campo on a Friday night. And probably none of y'all or a lot of you guys didn't really watch it because it wasn't our normal time slot. So I invited Mark back because I'm excited to have Mr. Mark Lambert from Sweet Swine Mine. He's going to be on here in just a few minutes. And we're going to talk to him about things he's got going on. He's got something very exciting to tell you guys. And, of course, we've got the Memphis in May coming up. Yeah, the calendar has already flipped to May, so we are going to focus tonight on Memphis in May. And then our guest of the evening, and Mark's going to put on his co-host hat because it's a role that he knows very well now. He's going to put on his co-host hat, and then we're going to have Mr. Grant Pinkerton. Yes, that Grant Pinkerton from Pinkerton's Barbecue. He's also a competition cook. He competes under the name Come and Eat It. So we're going to talk to Grant. Grant was the 2019 Memphis in May Beef Champion. That's right. We had a beef champion from Texas. Of course, we knew that, right? So we'll have Grant on here shortly. All right. I did not cook last weekend. There he is, chicken fried barbecue. I was just about to mention Bill Purvis. I want to give a shout out to Bill Purvis. Congratulations, Bill. Bill has already qualified for the Jack. He's hit his 7 grand champions early. I mean, what are we? May the 3rd? And he's already qualified with his 7. Congratulations, Bill. He posted something earlier today which showed his road, his path to the Jack. And it was quite a few different sanctioning bodies. He did it in KCBS. He did it in Lone Star. He did it in the CBA and Champions. He did it in, was it BCA? And then I think that was it, right? Did you do 4 or 5, Bill? I don't know. But that just proves to you guys this guy can cook all over in any sanctioning body and do it well. And we'll be talking about Bill here in just a moment. There he is. There he is right there. Bill Purvis. Congratulations, my man. Well-deserved. Well-deserved. All right. Well, speaking of my friends, the Gooder Gang, the very best followers in all of this fake internet barbecue thing that people are doing right now, let's give some shout-outs real quick. Carlos Calzada, first. And what's up, Carlos, from Smoking Loafs Barbecue? Welcome in. Big Family Barbecue, checking in on my favorite show from communist-occupied Austin, Texas. All right. Well, I hope you're doing okay in communist-occupied Austin, Texas. Daddy Dutch checking in from Iowa. You're in Iowa. It always confuses me, those Midwest states there. Trey's Barbecue, what's up? Taz, what's up? Adam checking in from Twitch, my man. Kevin Hernandez, the CBA world champ. My pits are burning. Johnny Maggs checking in from the East Coast. What's up, buddy? How are you? Evening, boys. Josh Criddle. Josh, I sent you an email earlier today. I just saw your email. I appreciate that. Chuck and Vanessa, what is going on? Serge, I always mention it. This guy binged watched every show we have. That's a lot. We're going on 6 years now. Steve Jimenez, what up? This better be good. The final 2 hours of my drive. That's right. You were going to San Antonio. Safe travels, my friend. I hope we make this quicker for you. Checking out on the show. Jared McCrory, my man, what is up? Old Man's Backyard Barbecue. That's a new one. No, it's not. That's Larry. It's an afternoon from South Jersey. What's up? Michael Sistrunk. Hello. Greg Minotti. What is up? Manny Moreno. How are you? Sean Trainer. It's about to get gooder. Yes, sir. It is. Scott. What's up? Scott from Georgia. Scott Schiffel. Hello. How are you, my man? Clay from Brisket Cases. There he is. Caleb. What is up, Caleb? Bring Case back. Well, I didn't fire Case. Case left the show. Chicken Fry, there he is again. Bill Purvis, Manny Moreno. I already said that. Tim White, congratulations. I think you had an RGC this weekend. Daddy Dutch. All right. Kendall Adair. What's up, Kendall? He will be in Memphis in May. I will see you, and we will talk there and do a live remote from there. Sebastian, what is up? Hello, Robin. Welcome to the show. Robin with 9 Banded Whiskey. How are you? Good to see you on there. Ed Foster, 9 Finger Q. I think you won again. There it is. Justin Wecker, what is up? All right, and Willie T. What's up, homie? All right, I put it out there. Proud of you, homie. My alumni is kicking ass. Yeah. A lot of Caleb is a fine cook, and I'm sure he's a great coach, and he's got a lot of alumni out there doing well. I guess he's talking about Ed. So congratulations to those guys. All right. The Gooder Gang is spoken for. They have been accounted for. We talked about what we got going on right now. We nothing going on with us, nothing at all. However, It's time to bring on Mr. Mark Lambert. He, again, is a 7-time world champion coming from Sweet Swine. Look at that. He put his name down there. World Champion Team Sweet Swine. In case we forgot. How are you doing, my man?
Mighty good, mighty good.
It's great to have you on the show, brother.
Thanks for having me back.
Like I said earlier, we did a remote show from El Campo, and it was on a Friday late, but I wanted to make sure you come on and, let's introduce you guys to mainly a lot of Texas cooks. Like I told you last time, a lot of Texas cooks watch this show, but we are getting a following throughout the country right now. I mentioned Iowa, Kendall's out there. We got some people from Georgia all over. But a lot of these guys, I'm sure they know of you, but please introduce yourself, Mark.
Like you said, it's on the team there, Sweet Swine World Champion Barbecue Team. We've been cooking since about 1998 as Sweet Swine. So a long time, but for a long time we just kind of competed at Memphis and May and the Memphis and May circuit at the time. And 2005 started venturing out into some KCBS, and once we got introduced to a lot of the folks at Operation Barbecue Relief, we started cooking Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo with that organization down there, and then started venturing into more Texas barbecue, some CBA contests, and from IBCA, started going down and cooking with the Texas Chrome Heroes Foundation and San Antonio and El Campo, and having a great time. So I've spent a lot more time in Texas the past few years than I ever have, and I love it.
I'm glad to hear you.
If I was going to move somewhere, I'd move there.
All right. I'm glad to hear you love it. Like you mentioned, you cook all over. You started in 98. What was the scene back then like in 98? And what inspired you to get into this thing? Because that was prior to Barbecue Pitmasters, which has inspired a lot of teams. But what got you involved in this thing?
Man, it was Memphis and May. We worked for the phone company, and they had a hospitality team at Memphis and May. They invited everybody to come down on the clock and said, yes, you can drink beer on the clock. And so they invited us to Memphis in May, and we would take out the trash, set up the site, tear down the site. I wasn't a cook at the time. I was just a gopher, and I helped do whatever needed to be done for the first couple of years, and befriended a guy on the team that was one of the cooks, and started learning about cooking. When they I guess they had a bad year, and they cut some of that out of the budget. We all decided to band together and change team names and sort of take it upon ourselves to continue to cook. So we did that. We changed the name to Sweet Swine of Mine. We were in a bar and heard Sweet Child of Mine on the house radio, trying to figure out a new team name, and it just kind of popped in my head.
That's awesome.
So we started cooking at Sweet Swine of Mine in 98, previously in 95, and with another name, but learned a lot from my friend Jody Bryant that passed in 2000. And when he passed, I took over as head cook. And, we cooked a few years really just in the Memphis area. And in 2005, we won our first our first world champion trophy at Memphis in May. And we got a little bit more excited about cooking. We took it a little more seriously, started paying attention, drinking less, and we started winning more. And, we went on to win we won a second place, I think it was in 2007. And then in 2008, we won first again. In 2009, we won first again and grand champion overall. And then 2010, we were third, I think. And then I think then we hit another ninth and an eighth, and then we hit first and 13 and grand champion again. And in 15, I think we were second in shoulder again, and then went on to win first in shoulder last year, and missed grand champion by 4 1/100ths of a point. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Since then, we've I've taken on barbecue full time in 2013. Decided to start selling barbecue grills and smokers and teaching classes and focus on our line of Sweet Swine of Mine products. And can't look back, man. It's been a blessing.
You got some people in there commenting about Carlos. Mark, thank you when you came down to take time to talk to me. I really enjoyed chatting with you. Yeah, that was one of my questions. 7-time world champion. Can you remember all 7? You just ran them down. Has it always been shoulder? For those that don't know, we Texas guys, I've been to Memphis in May, and it was kind of a culture shock to me because, brisket is like an afterthought. They don't even call it brisket. It's beef, right? It's a beef category. This is a strict pork contest, right? You have a rib teams, you've got pork shoulder teams, and you have the whole hog teams. Have you always done pork?
We have. That's how we started. And in the past, all of the shoulder teams were on the south end of the park. And so if you're on that south end of the park, you know who your neighbors are. You know your load-ins. Your load-in's typically a little easier. And we just always – that was part of we did well. Starting in 2005, we did well. But we always kind of decided shoulder was kind of what brought us to the dance. It was easy in, easy out. We knew all our neighbors. We knew where the water hookups were. It was easier out. I mean, it was great being on the south end of the park. Now they have rearranged it to where all of the hog teams are on the south end of the park because hog goes first now. No, sorry, ribs go first now. So they've arranged it to where hog's on the end, shoulders in the middle, and ribs are all on the north end. So since they rearranged it, I think it's a lot more fair for the rib teams. A lot harder to hold a rib. And so many years, the ribs have always kind of gotten behind because they were last, and I feel like they were shortchanged and didn't have a good opportunity for a rib team to win a Grand Champion, and they haven't since 1998.
Really?
So it's
wow. Man,
last year
started,
I thought it was a good opportunity for a rib, and if he couldn't do it, it's hard to be. It's hard to do. It's just hard to do with a rib against a whole pork shoulder and against a whole hog. It's got to be some kind of spectacular.
It's got to be a special rib, right?
Flambe that sucker, or do something nutty,
Well, I was my good friend Kendall Adair. When I told you I went to Memphis, I was part of his team. I was helping him out, and not with the ribs. The guy's a phenomenal rib cooker, and he's a great presenter. And that's part of the whole thing with Memphis is really neat, that whole experience. And we'll go over that in just a minute. But I remember looking at the rib teams. I think there was like 130 or somewhere in that area, and then the shoulder teams were like 68, and then the hog teams were 40-ish or so many. So I mean, to me, it's unless that's what your thing is, and you are a rib cooker and you do that, it seems like that's more of a hard. And then you mentioned they haven't been a rib champion since 1998. That's got to be way more difficult of a hill to climb than a shoulder team or a whole hog team. So Kendall, I'll talk to Kendall when we get back there, but I know it's rib cooks. Hey, they're cooking a lot of ribs. I'm not sure how many they cook for that contest, just for the box presentation, and then the on-site judging presentation. They a lot. How many shoulders are you cooking for this thing?
We trim and inspect 12 and cook 10.
Okay. And these shoulders are the whole shank and the shoulder, right? The whole thing.
Yeah, it's not just the butt. It's got to have. It's got 4 bones in it. There's 2 bones in the shank. There's an arm bone and a blade bone.
Are you pulling whenever you present in a box for your blind box? I'm not going to ask you techniques, but what is, we know the pork butt, right? CBA has been introduced. A lot of these Texas teams understand a pork butt. They know the money muscle, they know the blade, they know all that. But, beyond that, that's foreign to us for the most part. Is there some good meats in there that you're focusing on to put in your box, or is it mainly you're still focusing on the, because I thought, I listened to the Blues Hog guys, and they're like, no, we're going after the thing they know, and they're putting it in the box. So
yeah, I'll be honest with you, I don't slice any money muscle in my box. Zero. Wow. It's all pulled. It's all chunks. There are 8 pieces, maybe 9, depending on the shoulder, of each shoulder that go in the box. So it's 23 pounds per pre-trim. After you trim it down, it's probably somewhere down around 18, 19 pounds. And it's a little more difficult to cook. You know what you're dealing with in the butt. You've got a blade bone, you got money muscle, you got tubes, you got the little cushion meat and all that kind of stuff back there, right, sirloin muscle up under there, and you know what you're dealing with. But when it comes to a whole shoulder, you've got that attached to a picnic, and that picnic is leaner, and it's got a big bone running through it, and it's got skin, and it's got a shank, and so it's kind of like that whole hog. It's not. You can't look at it as one piece of meat. You got to look at it as a butt, a picnic, and a shank. They're all completely different. They cook different. They have different fat contents. They have different numbers and orientations of muscle. And so being able to cook that shoulder from money muscle to shank perfectly is the hard part. Because when you do a presentation, if you're not giving the judge meat from one end of that shoulder to the other, they're not going to give you the best score. If there's a team next to you that is doing that and it's all right, they'll get a better score because they've demonstrated their capacity to cook that shoulder perfectly from one end to the other. So it's just one of those things that you really have to learn how, and it takes a lot of not winning and pulling all your extra shoulders to kind of figure out where those pieces are.
Yeah.
If after you pull so many and you feel it and you go, ooh, that looks really good, or that feels really good, and you taste it, and then you pull the next one, you're like, we're going to find out how to go right to that muscle. And so at that point, you start to learn which pieces are the perfect pieces to go in the box and which pieces are the perfect pieces to give to the judge. And then, the combination of it, it's not just putting it in a box and turning it in. 60% of your score is that in preliminaries, but Memphis and May is 2 contests in one.
Mm-hmm.
It's a preliminary and a finals, and they're completely separate. And that's not like that anywhere else. So for preliminary, 60% of your score is that box, and there's no garnish. And you have to fit in the best scores where the box is completely full and it's a heavy box. And you don't necessarily have to put sauce on it, that you're allowed to turn in 2 sauce cups with it as well. So that has another whole element to it, turning in sauce. So
you said you could put it in a cup?
You turn in 2 sauce cups with the container.
Okay. That's completely different.
Once you turn that box in, then you have 3 judges that arrive at your site and walk in and judge you, just like they're sitting at my kitchen table right now. I have to explain the process, the smokers, the grills, the fuel, the times, the temperatures, the meat, where we got it, the trimming, the injection, the all of those different things. And we essentially just kind of go over the grill and the fuel and the time and the temperature and appearance on the grill. We do that up on our grill. And then when we finish that, I go down to the table with the judges, and then we start talking about seasonings and talking about flavors and processes and techniques.
Yeah.
And we've got a team on the back on the grill, and they're pulling the shoulder off and they're putting it on a charger and they're garnishing it and they're making it real pretty. And at the same time, as they bring it down, someone else is rearranging the rest of the shoulders on the grill, and they bring it down. And then when they bring it down, then we, make this big to-do when they put it on the table about how pretty it is. And we talk about the color and talk about the bone pull. And as we pull the bones for them, we give them all that kind of good stuff to think about. When you pull bones, you get steam coming out. You can smell it starts to get the juices flowing, So you really get a chance to gauge how in tune they are with you at that point and create a little bit of rapport. And then you start giving them bites and reinforcing the flavor, the things that they're experiencing with, describing the shoulder before they experience the flavor and the texture. Then you're describing those things. And when they get to experience it, you're building trust and rapport with that judge. And you just slowly, over the process of 15 minutes, win them over.
Yeah.
Because what's unusual about this contest is that it's a comparative judging contest. So it's not judged and then a score turned in and the best score. It's judged, and then once that judge leaves your site, he has to make little reminder marks. He doesn't score you immediately. He has to judge all 3 teams. Then he has to go back at his reminder marks and notes and fill in his scorecard and decide who was first, second, and third.
Wow. That's so many things playing into it. Like you mentioned, you have your team, and I can imagine the trials and trial and error that you've been doing it since '98 to get to where you are right now. And you were
so it's not just how it is at the table; it's how well do they remember it after they leave.
Yeah. How important do you think the presentation factor is before, like you're selling them before you said you even give them a bite? So
yeah,
that's gotta be a big factor, and I'm sure you've perfected your presentation. Like I mentioned about Kendall, I was amazed just listening to him and his presentation and how smooth that he was. And I was like, man, if I were ever to, have a space here, I would definitely have to practice and do all that, because man, it seems like that's where you win them over. That's where you draw them in. You say, you tell them their story, you say where it's from and this and that. And you're building a story before they even take a bite of that thing. And it's pretty awesome to see. And you just described it out there. And a lot of people are saying, hey man, you're giving me ideas. Thank you very much. It's pretty awesome, man.
And that's okay. It's about execution. I could give everybody my recipe and they have to be able to execute it. They don't have my team. The team is a unit, and everyone kind of has a part in it, and it really makes every one of those little tiny parts of that team makes a huge difference in the experience that the judge has. So it's not just the taste, because that's done at the blind. That experience has to happen while the judge is in your sight. They have to remember, they have to trust that everything you're telling them, the reason that this is the best pork shoulder in the park today, and they have to believe it and buy in. And so we really even have to, we've got a couple of cues in there that we really even take some verbal and some signal cues from some of our team members when they're introducing themselves and greeting the judges as to the experience level of that judge, know how to talk to them.
That's amazing, man. And I'm excited to come back and see the process throughout Memphis in May. It's coming up and again in a couple weeks. I'm sure you're gearing up for that. Man, you just put a lot of great information out there for teams that a lot of us aren't going to go to Memphis this year, but some of us are. Grant, we'll have him on in just a minute. But man, what a cool process! And like I said, I love hearing the story from '98 till now. And you were the 2022. I didn't even mention that. You're the 2022 pork shoulder world champion. You missed it by, you said, 0.4 of a point.
4/100ths.
4/100ths, even closer. That's crazy.
And then, of course, last year we're world champion in chicken wings.
Oh yeah, Bill was asking how'd your wings do. You're a world champion chicken wings. Is that part of the 7? Do you count that?
No, we didn't count that one.
Some people do. How do you feel about that? Are you a world champion chicken wing cook?
Yeah, we did it.
You are, but it's not part of the 7.
No,
you're only counting the big ones.
Yep,
and
yep.
the
it was
an
ancillary, so we're just counting main meats.
Okay. I like it. I did mention you have some exciting news. You are now part of you're going to be a television celebrity, Mark. And we're going to get to know you before you blow up, but you're going to be on the country network, right? Was that what it is? And it's a barbecue show. What's it called?
It's Barbecue Country. And it's on the Country Network, but Country Network is a streaming channel. So if you've got Amazon Prime, Hulu, Roku, Sling, a lot of those streaming services, you can go to the channel selector and search for the Country Channel. Download it typically.
I was checking it out. Yeah, it's going to be available. It'll be available to you on the Country Network, but it's going to be a cool barbecue show where you have 12 backyard competitors teamed up with 12 coaches, I guess, and you're the co-host of the show, so you're going to be overseeing this whole thing. How did you get involved in this? Kind of give us a background. What's different? We've seen some barbecue shows. We've got the Barbecue Pit Wars. We've seen the Barbecue Pit Masters. Food Network's doing one right now where they kind of have 3 coaches and teams. And how's this one laid out? What attracted you to this? And tell us a little bit about it and when it starts, and all give us all the info on this thing, please.
They came to me. I mean, honestly, the creator of the show, Russ Lanham, we used to work together in the construction industry, and he came to me because I'm not a career TV guy. I'm not on all the barbecue TV shows, and that's why he came to me, because this show is totally unscripted in its backyard.
Love that.
You've got all the guys, even though that there are 12, professional barbecue pit masters there assisting the backyard cooks. All of those egos are checked at the door. They're there to help the backyard guys, and it's all about the backyard guys and how they cook. Of course, there's some scenarios and dramas that help with the TV experience for entertainment purposes, but it's a backyard show where these guys are competing, and they're gonna cook pork chops, and they're gonna cook steaks, and they're gonna cook whole chicken, and they're gonna cook shrimp, and they've got different things to cook, and they can come up with side dishes. It's about their side dish as well. It's not necessarily all about the protein. It's about how well is their side dish, and many times either won or lost them their spot. So it had a lot to do with how they combine that and whether they failed at the protein or won the side dish. But it's all backyard and it's family style. That's what I like. And I was chosen because it was unscripted, and they just wanted someone that knows about barbecue, and they could talk about it unscripted and seamlessly. They got another guy that's a co-host with me, Peyton Aldridge, from The Voice last year. Amazing vocal artist, and he's starting to tour all over the country. And
Nice.
He's only 25 years old, but just a talent. But we're both from Mississippi, and we really engaged really well, and we're able to get along and have fun and work with all of the work with all the backyard cooks. And they allowed us to sort of give us an outline, but allow us to sort of freely engage and work with the backyard cooks. And it started with 12, and then we went down. It was elimination. So right now there's 3 cooks in the finals. And on June 2nd and 3rd, we're going back to Lebanon, Tennessee, and we're going to have the Barbecue Country Fest, and it'll be there at the grounds of the Tennessee State Fair. They've got craft vendors and food vendors, and they're having I think about 5 different artists. They're putting on a huge concert, and they're doing a People's Choice tasting. All of the contestants from the show are doing a People's Choice tasting. The winner of that wins their spot into the finale. So there'll be 4 in the finale.
Oh, wow. Okay. So the eliminated contestants can get back into the finale, and then we don't know the winner. Obviously hadn't happened yet. So it's still ongoing. Too cool, man. And I saw you have the coaches are, Richard Fagola from Fergalicious Barbecue. He's been a guest on the show. You had Harry Sue. So it's going to be interesting. We're going to know a lot of the people out there. There's Phil Breeden, LC Barbecue. A lot of guys have commented right now. Hi, Jen Lee, Willie T, Carlos, Dawson. They're making some good. They're all amazed at how much of this information you put. He keeps highlighting any wing tips. Mark,
wing tips. Yeah, don't use the wing tip.
Don't. There's your wing tip. Don't use them. There it is. That sounds like a great
turn
show.
Flats, bottom line.
There you go. Hey, flats are great. Sounds like a great show. Yeah, I'm excited about it. And last thing before we get Grant on, and you put your co-host, because you were the co-host of that show, so you are a professional co-host now, my man. How was it being in an actual music video? I saw the video.
And it was real easy. I was just background,
You were just background. You were just nodding your head and doing your thing. I liked it. It was really cool. I was like, there he is. There's Mark. It was pretty cool. No, I'm excited about the show. I did hear the song, and I saw the co-host or the host, I guess, is going to be Peyton. So I'm excited about that, and that's going to be coming up. When does it start airing?
It's going to start airing Memorial Weekend. So the first episode on the Country Network, Memorial Weekend, and then every week they'll add an episode, and kind of like they did Yellowstone. Every year there'll be 1 episode the first week, and the next week there'll be 2 episodes played, the first and the second, and the third week will be first, second, and third. And they'll run back to back as they come out every week.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, there's Mark Lambert. Thank you, man. This has been great, and you have been spitting some information out there, and I'm excited to come visit you guys when we go to Memphis. Spoiler alert, I will be in Memphis. So I'm excited to come see you guys and visit with Mark. Mark forgot to mention how great he does in Mexico. All right, well, Mark's still sticking around. I just want to get Grant in here as well. Before we do that, let me run a quick sponsor spot real quick, and then we'll get these guys on together. Shout out to our great sponsors, RecTag, Cosmos Q Products, Summer Moreno, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, LC Barbecue, Eureka Heights Brew Company, Clark Compression and Components, Texas Chrome Heroes Foundation, Briscoe Ranch Cook-Off at the Crossroads, Texas Original Charcoal Products, the Danny Dietz Memorial Classic, Texas Oil Dove, Wool Printing Wraps and Graphics, We Branded Promotions, and the Barbecue Store in Hempstead. Thank you for supporting the So Smokin' Gooder Show. Absolutely. Thank you guys for supporting the So Smokin' Gooder Show. I forgot to mention, Mark, you have a distribution center. You sell rubs and all of it, man. So any of those rubs that were mentioned there part of your lineup over there?
It used to be, back in the day, during COVID and all before, we sold we had over 100 rubs and sauces in stock, and small grills, big grills. But since then, and with the problem with finding help, we scaled back. We got rid of all of the rubs and sauces except for our own. We sell Boar's Not Out White Lightning because they're right here. They live a half a mile from us, and they're great friends. And we sell some of the SMP rubs from Mexico because they're great friends. And They come up every year and bring us seasoning. So we sell a few of those things, but outside of that, we have dedicated our time and efforts to selling smokers and grills and accessories, teaching classes, and doing consulting.
Beautiful. What sauce was on the pork for yours? I'm sure it was yours.
Which one?
Which one of your sauces is best for pork, so we know, so we can go and buy sweet swine on mine?
Oh, our Lambo combo. Absolutely. We have a competition sauce for competition barbecue anyway. I'm going to say that the Lambo combo is the one to go. Now, for my personal preference, if I'm going to eat pork, all right, we've got a sweet and spicy vinegar sauce that to me is unmatched. It is by far my favorite sauce.
All right.
We won first place sauce at Memphis in May multiple times without actually going to the stage. So a lot of people take our sauce and pour it out of the bottle into the turning cup at Memphis in May. And I can't tell you how many first places, second places, third places have happened just by pouring my sauce out of them, heating it up in the sun. That's the whole trick. Heat it up in the sun a couple hours, get the temperature just right where it feels warm on your face, pour it in the cup and turn it in. And we won 2 years ago. We won second place doing that exact thing.
Lambo combo. You heard it right here.
Lambo
Let's go.
combo.
All right. All right.
You use here's the combo for sweet swine of mine's shoulder. It's sweet brine of mine as the bottle directs, mixed as the bottle says, injected about 1 ounce per pound, allow it to set at 1 to 2 hours. It's White Lightning, original White Lightning, and it's sweet rub of mine original. Allow it to sit in about 30 minutes, and the finished sauce is the Lambo combo. We sweeten it just a little bit up, sweeten it and tweak it just a little bit, but it's pretty much Lambo combo. We've got a little finishing injection that we won't tell everybody about.
Awesome, brother. That's all. Man, I hope you wrote that down. If you didn't, you can go back and replay this video. How awesome is that? Yeah, Chicken Fried's checking in. The world, or 7-time so far. Not the world champ yet, but possibly. I got my money on Bill. He's doing well. He's going to the Jack. All right, let's. I told Grant he'd be in 8 minutes ago. Well, let's get him on right here. And you know this man right here. We're going to talk to Mr. Grant Pinkerton from Pinkerton's Barbecue. Competes as well under the team name Come and Eat It. Grant, did you learn anything listening to Mark just now, man?
I've been sitting here taking notes, man.
You're going to Memphis. I would be too. I'd be taking all kinds of notes, man. Grant, please introduce yourself. People know you here in Texas. If you don't know Grant Pinkerton, he's got a restaurant in Houston, which is phenomenal. And he opened up. I have not been to the one in San Antonio yet, but man, that looks gorgeous. That opened up a couple of years ago now.
Yeah.
It looks amazing. I need to get in there to that one, but I've been to your Houston one a few times and I love it. Grant, please introduce yourself to the show. This is your first time, your debut on the So Smoking Gooder show, my man.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. Grant Pinkerton, obviously, as my little tag says, and I got a restaurant, Pinkerton's Barbecue, in Houston and San Antonio. Compete under Come and Eat It. I can say that's the restaurant's barbecue team. I'm just like everybody in the comments. I'm just a guy who likes barbecue.
Love it. Your restaurants are very well known. Like I mentioned earlier, they're like barbecue destination stops for sure. They're in the Texas Monthly. That's like the gold standard right now for barbecue restaurants. You want to be in the Texas Monthly top 50. You guys have done it. You started talk about your restaurants real quick and how can they find it and talk about that growing up, because I read your About Me on your website and it's a pretty interesting story. You're a Longhorn, which I love. I love that.
So I started cooking barbecue when I was 12 years old. I tell everybody I asked my dad for a barbecue pit, and he obliged and got me a Weber Smoky Mountain. And the kicker is, I said the first brisket I ever cooked was amazing. All of them after that were, the next 50 were pretty bad, but I started out, I opened the Legends of Texas cookbook, and it was old Cooper's recipe, and it was salt, pepper, and kind of and thyme. So that was the first piece of barbecue I made, and I kind of spent weekends kind of messing around and go to the butcher shop. And when I got into high school, I started raising pigs. And showing them. I was an FFA, learned how to weld, started welding barbecue pits, started learning about meat science and all this stuff. And so that kind of coupled into my kind of barbecue knowledge as well. So when I could skip class to go cook barbecue and weld barbecue pits, that seemed like a pretty good gig. Graduated, went to UT, was there kind of around the time Aaron Franklin started his trailer in Austin. Came back, graduated, came back, took a couple victory laps, probably because I was cooking and partying too much and those kind of things. Moved back to Houston, ate at a few spots, and really would kind of kicked it back up. It was cooking on the weekends in my parents' backyard. I was like the neighborhood meat dealer. Everybody would smell it. They'd come over. I'd give them a brown bag out the front door, then cash in the back. And I was working another job at the time, and kind of before I knew it, I was making more money selling barbecue than I was at my job. And my boss sat me down and he said, "Grant, you have no debt. You live with your parents and you don't have a girlfriend. So now's the time, and you're 24 years old. Now's the time for you to, be an entrepreneur and get out there and try to do this. You have a gift for barbecue." So my hours were drastically cut, and I went out and I bought a 20-year-old trailer pit built by the Liberty County Ag class as an ag project. And I had my first pop-up that weekend, and I remember I went home with about $1,100 in cash, and that was more than I'd make in 2 weeks, and just thought, man, I can get paid for doing something that I love. And so, that was kind of the one of the moments that it clicked for me. And so kind of hopped back on the wagon and started cooking again and got my social media going. And I kind of, saw that as a good way for me to make an inroad into the barbecue scene. You can be anybody online, right? So, we were just putting out good pictures and putting out good content, and people started following and showing up to these pop-ups, and kind of got all this catering going on the side. And, one thing led to another. We opened our first store in 2016. And we made, I think the Texas Monthly came and tried us like within the first month we were open.
Oh, wow.
And we made that list in May. And then in 2018, I was on the Forbes 30 under 30 list.
Damn it, boy.
Yeah, which is a list of like the 30 most influential people within the food and drink industry or whatever their respective field was. So that was really cool because I was the first pitmaster to make it in the United States. And, as a culinary community, we're all in it. It was nice to be able to have barbecue, have a presence where people kind of recognize that, it's not just some old guy in the backyard, or, there's actually higher end techniques going into it, recognition of high quality products, high quality proteins. It was evolving with the culinary community as well, so that was really, really cool. And then, shortly after that, 2019, first Memphis and May beef. And then we had the pandemic hit. Then I came back in 2021 and won it again.
Wow.
So then I decided I was take my own team. I love cooking pigs. I don't know. There's not a lot of us here in Texas that enjoy cooking hogs. But I, as they say, I'm sick for it. I do it at my house. I love it. I love pork, and I always tell people, I think we sell more pork than anybody in the state of Texas at our Houston location.
Yeah, you love it. It's a staple out there at Houston. Are you still friends with this boss? What a cool boss, man. He gave you some great advice right there. 24 years old. That was awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
he was at my wedding.
Awesome. He should be. That's awesome, man. That he gave you some wonderful advice, and look what it's turned out to. So you do love pork, and what attracted you to the Memphis and May? And that's a different deal, man. That is all pork. I know you've competed at Houston as well,
right,
like Mark. But what did you know about it? How did you find out about that as a Texas boy?
So I actually went up and cooked at a barbecue restaurant in New York City. And they brought me in to be like the token guy from Texas to come in and cook beef ribs and brisket for people and have a pop-up in New York City. And so I went up there and I made friends with some of the guys. Mark, that's where I met Nick Woolfolk. And we got to hanging out and talking. And those guys who own that barbecue restaurant actually had a team at Memphis in May called Salty Rinse. And they called me up out of the blue and said, and I knew of Memphis and May, right? I mean, it's a very big, famous cook and contest. And they called me up and said, hey, you know, we'd really love it if you could come cook our beef turn-in. And I said, man, you don't say no more. I'll be there. So that's how I showed up over there. And really, like, I got really caught up in the pageantry, I think is the right word to describe Memphis in May, of the whole event. You know, Houston is a big deal and all these things, but really what captivated me was the on-site judging. It's kind of like the Masters of barbecue. People like to call it the Super Bowl of swine and things like that, but there's just something there's a lot of pageantry involved in Saturdays at Memphis in May, from the teams being all dressed the same and the presentations and everybody being quiet, you know, respectful of all the other cook teams that are doing it. There's just something really, really special about it. And when we got accepted in last year, I was really honored that we would be able to take a team from Texas and go up there and compete.
Man, and you've been doing well out there. Like you mentioned, you're the 2019 beef champion out there. How's the pork? How's your Texas pork stood so far out there? How many times have you competed out there now?
This will be our second year in whole hog. So, you know, last year we were getting our feet wet and it was hot as hell. And we were there to build our team, but also, like, man, I learned a lot. And over the course of last year, I've really kind of dived in and gotten out into some MBN contests with some dudes and cooked. And we went, and Nick and I went and cooked in New Orleans for the Hogs for a Cause, and we took first place hog there. So, I mean, he pulls most of the weight, but I've had some really good teachers, and I'm really excited for this year coming up and being able to take that. It's a lot different, you know. I mean, it's a lot different than pork here in Texas. I know one thing right off the bat, like, be completely honest, my shit was way too spicy last year. You know, that needs to be sweet and tangy and salty. So
I'm gonna let real quick. This is a new person right here, and sometimes we have some new questions. Virginia Buttonweed, what's up, Virginia? VB, and I'm gonna let Mark can answer this question as well. But let's let the brisket guy from Grant Pinkerton. Is it aluminum or butcher paper for brisket? Real quick, we'll just throw this in here real quick.
All right, I'm going to give you the short answer. I've done them both ways. Back when we used to do our pop-ups, I used to use aluminum foil because it would hold a lot longer. At the restaurant, we switched to butcher paper. If you're cooking like a classic heavy pepper, coarse salt Texas brisket, I like butcher paper. It breathes a little better. It leaves your bark kind of intact. You have less likely chance of kind of ending up with a pot roast brisket doing it that way. And you know what? Quite frankly, it's a lot easier to handle. You're not dripping grease all over the place. You don't have a water balloon of 150-degree hot oil that you're toting around your kitchen. I mean, no, that's a real thing. Like, those things break and people's toes get
hurts,
burned.
Maybe it burns.
Yeah.
A lot less expensive too, right?
For sure. For sure.
Cool. There you go, VB. You got your answer right there. So, Mark, as a second-year team going in for whole hog, you mentioned it took you years to perfect what you're doing right now. Man, do you have any advice for a second-year team going in there doing? I know he's done it already, and you guys talk already, but the on-site judging to me is going to be crucial. And Grant, maybe I can come and watch. I won't be in your booth, obviously, but I'm excited to see how you do out there. But Mark, any advice for a second-year team doing out there?
Man, for ribs, it's the hardest protein to hold, but it's the easiest one to build a box with. You cut them, you pick out the ones that are the best. Typically, you turn in, 3 pieces, 2 bones each, and you stack them in a box. Yep. They're pre-trimmed and ready to go. It's simple. They don't have time to get cold. It's easy. You don't have time to mess it up and finger it too much. But with a shoulder, with whole hog, it's a blank canvas. There's a lot of meat there, and it's not all the same. When you're dealing with a slab of ribs, it's pretty much the same from one end to the other, except you've got some thin bones and thick bones. You're typically using center cut. When you're doing a hog, you've got to get shoulder meat. You've got to get loin meat. You've got to get ham. And where you get it from that ham, shoulder, or loin, is depending on how it's cooked, is a huge difference in tenderness and flavor and size. So because it's such a blank canvas, it takes a lot more time. You can't just pull them off, go, these 4, cut them, put them in a box. You actually have to, there's got to be some strategy, I guess is what I'm getting at. So you got to figure out how many people it takes to effectively get the meat off of the pit or meat off of the pig. And then, if you're cooking whole hog in Memphis, May, you kind of need 2 pigs. You need one that's kind of molested, so to speak, for finals. You've got to have one to at least a half of a pig to pull your blind off of, and you got to have a half of a pig to present. So it takes some time. You got to figure out how many people it takes to get the meat off the pig, the right meat, get it cleaned up, get it trimmed, how to keep it hot in between the time it comes off of the pit and the time while it goes into the box, how to keep it hot through that transition, how to finish the box with hot meat. So when you're walking away, the box still feels to the touch, it feels hot. That's the goal. If you're walking away and that box doesn't feel hot, you're at the bottom of the heap. It needs to stay hot. So the strategy is key in knowing how to do it fast and how to keep it hot through the blind. If you don't win the blind, you don't have a chance. No matter how good your onside is, you don't have a chance. So once the blind box goes in and you've turned in a hot, well-executed blind box, then the presentation starts, and that's developing rapport with people. That's learning how to get people to trust you, and that's learning how to read the judge and how to be able to tell what they like and play on that.
Yeah, that's and Grant, you're 100% got confidence, and you can do all of that, man. I'm excited to see how you did or how you do, and I'll be there to watch. Last year, you said it was your first year overall. What did you come up with? How'd you fare last year?
I can't remember. I think we were somewhere in the like 20 something or 22, something like that. So out of 42, so we're like right in dead middle.
Yeah.
If I was doing it, I'd cook 2 hogs. I would cook my blind hog belly up, a butterfly belly up hog that has access to all of the great meat, to where I can make it taste it the best I can make it taste with lots of bark, and I would have my finals hog available, belly down in the running position that holds a little bit better, that shows a little bit better, because in the final round, I mean, you're up against the best. You're up against the 3 best hogs, the 3 best shoulders, the 3 best ribs. You need something that's going to show a little better. And the flavor, they're going to take little tiny bites of it. So I would have a belly up for blind, and for finals, I would have a running pig that just actually shined like new money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have 3. So
that's even better.
Yeah, we're going to leave the finals completely untouched. We got a whole hog. I got 2 for the blind box. And whatever you really won, whole one. Then we got 1 for the preliminary on site, and then we got the money hog for the God willing finals, right?
I'm
excited. You got a plan to be there in order to win it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm excited for both of you guys. Both of you guys have competed at Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. A lot of these guys know about that contest that are watching the show. Mark, you won the damn thing with with Operation Barbecue Relief. Grant, I remember you doing very well. Have you done well at this year? You were a finalist, right?
Yeah, we had 4th ribs in this year, and then I was 6th overall 2 years ago.
That's strong. That is very strong. You mentioned the pageantry, or one of you guys mentioned the pageantry. I think Grant did, of Memphis. Houston is a straight party. 3 days of partying. Mark, what do you like about Houston? What do you dislike about Houston? What's your overall experience going to that contest, and what did you know about it going into it, and then did it live up to the hype?
I knew a little bit going into cooking. I'd visited with some friends of mine that cooked in years past, but I knew very little about the cooking part of it, other than sort of the tagging and all that kind of stuff and the limited number of meats you can cook. I knew a little bit about that, but man, it's one of my favorite contests of the whole year to go to. It's so well organized, and they got such a great committee, and everyone takes such great pride in the contest and the organization of it. There's a lot of Texas pride right there, and it shows. And when you go there, you can feel that, and it's cool to be a part of it. And while it is a huge party, just like Memphis May is a huge party, in the background, everyone's taking it pretty darn serious. It's a super serious contest, a world champion, one of the few world champions. And, going into it, I really didn't think we'd ever have a chance to win. I really didn't. But in bottom line, some of the guys in WR sort of handpicked this team. He picked me to cook ribs, and Joey Smith to cook the brisket, and Scott Guy cooks our chicken, and he's just sort of handpicked the people, and people that kind of do what they do the best. And man, we were fortunate the first year to be 6th overall and final in ribs. I think we were 3rd in ribs, and the next year we came back, we won the thing, and then we came back after that and reserved it the next year after that. Didn't do much this year, but hey, you can't win them all. But it's one of my favorite contests. Great party, great neighbors everywhere you go. Everyone's just super nice, and just a lot of good Texas pride and hospitality.
Well, Mark, you've walked first place pork at Kansas City at the American Royal. I was
ribs.
Was it ribs? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
First place ribs at the American Royal. You've won Houston. You've walked Memphis in May. How about the Jack? Have you done anything there?
I've cooked it, and I've been in the top 10 in every category, but just not on the same year.
Which one walking the stage? I've done. I got a chance to walk the stage this year at Houston, and man, it's just before going into it, people talk about Houston. It is so limited. It's not you can't really get in there. You have to know somebody to get into Houston. It's not like you can't sign up to it and go to Houston. But so I don't know if I, in my mind, kind of like downplayed it or how it was, but actually having the opportunity to walk that stage, it's just mind blowing. The sea of people out there, that huge moment of what Houston is. How does that compete with the other ones that you've walked in?
Man, I mean, of course, I've never. We've got a team captain at Houston, so I've never been on the stage. But it's wild and crazy down in the pit down below it. I can tell you that. If you're holding a final sign, I mean,
it's great.
Tons of nervous anticipation and waiting to hear what happens, and it's great whether you're on the stage or not there. But it was. It's really hard to explain being on the stage at Memphis in May. Every year kind of feels like the first time. It never gets old. It's not like humdrum. Man, every time you're just as nervous, and you get same butterflies, and they've
got a great
MC
MC
this year with Brad Liniger, with Blues Hog, him and Tim Shear and Bayless and all those guys were up there. And while we're sitting up there and they were holding our trophies, and they're talking to the crowd, getting ready to announce the world champion, and Brad Liniger looks over at me. He goes, "Man, there ain't nothing like this." I was like, "You got that right."
And he's walked a few of them too.
He said, "There ain't nothing like it."
Grant, I know you've been up there. What do you remember about that moment?
Oh man, it was really cool, and I almost missed the first one because I had to run to the bathroom. My wife was freaking out that I wasn't going to get back in time, because the guys told me that beef wasn't going to be announced till later. So I ran back to the tent, went to the restroom, got back, and they were announcing 5th place beef already. And I'm like, weaving my way through the crowd. And I think, Mark, that was before they even gave out, at least for the ancillaries, they didn't give out finals things. So everybody just went to the stage and they started calling it out. And so they went 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd. I don't know. I felt really good about my entry that year, so I was pumped when they didn't call 2nd, and I was just really hoping that it started with our name. And when they hit it off, I say that shit was crazy, man. Go coming out from the middle of the crowd, kind of like this huge CBA contest, where nobody really knows, and then make your way to the stage, and then to look out there and the water's on your left, It was just a really, really neat experience. I mean, for me, that was my first big competition barbecue win. I mean,
that's a big one.
That was really cool.
They mentioned the big 4. Memphis is one, the Jack, Houston, and of course the American Royal, which is amazing, man. And they're all different and unique in their own ways. From what I remember being there, I think it was 2020. No,
19. It was 19.
It was
'Cause
19.
I saw you on the way to the
Okay,
state.
yeah, 19, and it was that's right. They have a great MC. I mean, it's well run, and of course the weather cut that one short too. In 19, they were like, "Get out, everybody, we're done. You got to
Right.
leave right now." And
That's part of it.
it went from nice out there to like tornado style weather out there. It was crazy. And I hear that happens quite a bit over there in Memphis. And they're back at the park. Mark, do you expect anything different this year?
Yeah, it's going to be a complete cluster, I'm afraid.
Okay.
It's they have completely redesigned and renovated that park, and imagine what for all practical purposes, they went in there with a tiller and tilled that thing up and laid a bunch of sod over a bunch of mud soup, and there's narrower paths and bridges and 100 times more trees than there used to be, sprinkler systems. It's that's the reason there's so much fewer teams this year. I mean, there's 100 fewer teams this year because that park has so much less usable space. They threaten you with an inch of your life to not get off. You get a wheel off of the hard surface when you're loading in, loading out. I mean, threaten to disqualify you if you mess up the grass. And it's going to be, this weekend is the Memphis May Music Fest, and by all accounts, that sod is still soft and the mud under it is still wet, and they haul tons of stages and stuff in there for that. There's tons of foot traffic. I can imagine, just like every other year, it's going to be completely destroyed. Maybe not not as bad as it has been, but in the past it's kind of had some hard spots. And after this renovation, there's no hard spots. And it's forecasted to rain. After tomorrow, it's forecasted to rain for the next 9 days, over 50.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Bring rain boots. Bring rain
It's going to
boots.
be ugly.
El Barrio. Yes, I do know a guy by the name of Gilbert Casanova. He was my taste tester for my last little competition. All right. Yeah, I know Gilbert. Say hello. Say hello to Gilbert. We have some great comments from the Gooder gang over here. Doesn't get much better in San Antonio's Pinkertons. Downtown in the evening. Gabe Garcia play guitar on the patio. Great spot. And somebody, Willie T. Mark, thanks for being a great friend, being such a great mentor. Grant, thank you for opening the door for me and barbecue and for having me work in your restaurant. Oh, Willie T. Smoking Willie T. has been at the Pinkertons deal. We've had some more out here. Old Phil Breeden. How's it going, Mark? All right. Well, there's one right here. Who do you dread facing the most in the finals? I guess that goes to both of you guys, but we'll start with Grant. Say you make the finals.
I don't want to go up against this guy in the finals, but I know he'll be there.
Well, he's shoulder. You're whole hog.
Yeah, but in finals, everybody's together.
Oh, yeah. You talking about? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anybody want to take that question from Wes Garrett? What's up, Wes? Thanks for tuning in, Bo.
I mean, there's a handful of teams there that when you see, you're like, ooh. You see them in finals. If you're up there against, in shoulder, of course, that's just where you instantly look. You gotta win first before you can win grand. So we just really kind of start there and don't get outside of that too much. But certainly when you see people in there like Cool Smoke, when you see that Cool Smoke, when you see Chris Lilly and Big Bob Gibson's, in the shoulder category, those are a couple of the one. Now, back in the day, we had Red Hot Smokers, and he's retired, thank goodness, because when he was there, he was a formidable opponent every single time. Those are kind of a couple of the top ones that come to mind when I see them right off the bat. They're like, oh man. There's a handful of others that have quit cooking that we don't have to worry about anymore, thank goodness. But we just kind of focus on the shoulder category. And last year, we were in there. We were in the finals with Cool Smoke, and thank goodness it was kind of a brand new team. One other brand new team, Sweet Cheeks. So when they called Cool Smoke over us, man, that's if you've beat Cool Smoke, you have done something, because he's beat us before.
Then you got a good shot, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's beat us before in finals. I think in 2010 we made finals with them again, and we came in first in preliminary, and then we finished third in finals. We weren't prepared, and that's what we talked about earlier. You got to prepare for finals. You have, like, you're going to be there in order to win it. If you don't, you're going to come out third. You have to play like you're going to be there already.
Grant, let's hope. Let's go. We're in the finals with Whole Hog. And
Well, I'm going to say,
who do you not want to see, or does it matter if you're in the finals at this point?
hey, dude, we're high fiving, but hey, we're in it to win it, right?
Exactly.
I guess at this point, I'd really hate to see the Blues Hog guys in there with me, considering they're in Whole Hog. You know, Boar's Night Out has a badass on-site presentation. I know that. I watched theirs last year, some of it. But either of those two teams, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I'm going to bet on myself too. If we're there, my shit was good.
Yes.
And so I'm putting money on my table. You know, we have every right to be there too.
If you're
I think
there,
Blues Hog's cooking the rib this year too.
What's that?
Really?
What'd you say, Mark?
I think Blues Hog's cooking a rib this year.
They're in Whole Hog. I saw their spot. It's next to the old Salty Rent spot. So I told them y'all gonna have to probably have the same on-site judges. So see you later.
Grant, you're bringing some Texas boys with you to Memphis. Who are you bringing with you?
We are. Bill Purvis is on the Come and Eat at Memphis and May team. Tim White.
Bill Purvis? You talking?
Yeah.
This guy right here?
Yeah, he's a staple on our team now. And then we got Fred.
Robles?
Valley. Yep.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. Bringing some heat. And then Adam and Michelle Martinez are on our team too.
Wow. Damn. Okay. All right. Well, you're bringing a squad.
Yeah.
You're bringing a squad up to Memphis for that. So, very nice. Very nice. And I will be out there checking you guys out, and I want to visit with both of you guys while I'm up there as well. But we like to do the Wraps and Graphics wrap-up recap and the upcoming events segment. You guys want to stick around? I know I told Mark, hey, we do this about an hour and a half show. But, Mark, is there anything else you want to talk about before we let you or hang out? It's up to you.
No, I'll hang out for a little bit.
All right, sweet. Grant, how about you, bub?
Sure, I'll be around.
That's fine, but I think we've covered a lot.
Yeah, we did cover a lot, and you've been spitting out some really good. Both of you guys have been spitting out a lot of good information. Tim White as well. He's a let's get it. All good. Yeah. Barbecue Dream Team. You guys from Texas heavy hitters.
For real.
You're bringing some all stars. Clay Wright from Brisket Cases checking in as well. Hey, I cannot let Mark not talk about Texas Chrome Heroes Foundation, my man. If you have any veterans or first responders that may benefit or could use some help from a great organization like Texas Chrome, visit the page, register a hero. It's a very simple process. I checked it out. Simple form you can get with this awesome and rewarding program. Get with Texas Chrome Heroes Foundation. Mark, you're a big part of this organization as well. Talk about your experience with Joey Smith, Cassie Smith with Texas Chrome Heroes Foundation.
It's one of those things that at some point in your career, you know, you feel like your cup is full and running over, and someone else needs to drink from it. You know, you need to give back a little bit, and it feels better to give than to receive at some point. You know, and so that's what Joey and Cassie did. They had some opportunities to help some veterans with their journey with PTSD, and they saw how much it helped, and you know, just like us with our Faith and Fires ministry, you know, everyone kind of should hopefully find a purpose in what they're doing. And Joey and Cassie found a purpose. They found their path, and just doing what they do every day. They listen to God a little bit and kind of figured out that, hey, this is what God wants us to do. We have a platform. We have a purpose. We have talent, and people respond to what we're doing. So they took it upon themselves to organize this Texas Chrome Heroes Foundation to make it easier for these veterans that are struggling with PTSD and being able to fit in and having a hobby, and, you know, being able to, to come back to reality, so to speak, the new reality that they didn't know existed. So I've got a chance to cook with a few of these guys, and, just stepped into the trailer brand new, meeting these people from the first time. And by the time it's all over, we're like brothers, and we really feel connected, and we've had such a great time, and you know, just being in such close quarters, working together. And some of these guys are so engaged in wanting to learn this craft. you know, they get to taste some of the best barbecue they've ever had and the best barbecue in the world. They get to taste this, and when you can see them taste this and their eyes just light up, and they get to see the interaction between the pit masters, and they get to see some of the pageantry in the show, and they get an opportunity to get that feeling to walk up on stage and have their song played, and you know, and to hold a trophy, and they get people clapping for them and cheering them on. You know, there's just so many things that go into it that we take for granted, I think. And those guys, when they come in, they get the opportunity to be instantly immersed in all of the cool stuff that is competition barbecue. And so many of them have gone through that program now and have had the opportunity to go on and cook on their own and be successful on their own and to win their own trophies and to get their families involved and to get other heroes involved. So it's you know, it's contagious. It really has been. And to see some of those other guys and get to cook with so many of them, it's been a blessing.
Yeah, they get some live lessons, and they don't realize they're talking with a 7-time world champion, but talk about the coaching out there. You know, I know, see you, Chris Davis, Joey, Johnny Dunn. Man, they're getting some really good tutelage out there as well. Carlos Calzada, he's been through the program. I'm so thankful for all the people involved with that one. We know that I benefit from that as well. I know Josh Hell has been through the program, and he's a force to be reckoned with. Carlos as well here in Texas on the Texas barbecue scene. So they're doing great work out there, and I'm glad that you're a part of that. I wanted you to speak on that because you are part of that program for sure. You know, I saw you guys at El Campo, and you know, you've been doing, you know, the 6-pack. Are you going to be involved in any of the 6-pack this year, Mark?
I'm not going to get to go to El Campo. That's the same weekend as the SMP Grill Master in Monterey.
Oh, Monterey,
Santiago. So we do that every year with the SMP group. And since they backed theirs up a few weeks, it happens to be on the same weekend as El Campo. So what are the other ones? Where are the other locations for the 6-pack?
This next weekend, they're going to be in Hempstead. They're going to be in Seguin. We'll be in Wharton. Man, you got me off the top of the head. I got to look at it, but I know that they wrap up in El Campo. So we've done 2 already. So there's 7 more events.
Didn't you win that last year?
I didn't win it. I was second in a category. Okay. No, I didn't. I don't remember who won the whole thing. But yeah. And I'm not starting out very well this year, but but there's still time. We still, you know, they take the top 6 out of 9. For those that don't know, the Texas 6-pack is going. It's a series within a series. There's 9 events, and they take the there's double. Oh, there you go, doubleheader in Tomball. How did I forget that? Shout out to the Tomball VFW drink. So they take there's 9 events, and they take your top 6. So Grant, you get in this thing, bro. They take your top 6, and it's a series. So there's category winners for chicken, ribs, pork, and brisket, and then there's an overall winner that culminates at the Lost Lagoon in El Campo. And what a great event! That was fun last year, Mark.
Oh man, it was a ball. It was. You talk about excitement during the awards. Holy crap, it was crazy. But you know, I want to try to make at least one of those Texas Chrome Heroes cook-offs for sure. Since I hate missing El Campo. It's such a great time, but I'm going to make one of the other ones. I'm going to fit it in somewhere.
I get a shout out. Carlos Calzada said Phil won it all last year, so I got to play his clip. Here we go.
I'm Phil Breeden, owner and founder of LC Barbecue, and you're watching the So Smoking Good Show.
Now I ask all of you guys, Mark, I would love a clip from you. Grant, love a clip from you. Let's do this. Maybe we can do it at Memphis when I see both of you. Both of you there. All right. If you guys want to take a quick break, I'm gonna do some rundowns of the Bull Printing Wraps and Graphics wrap up recap and the upcoming event segment, and then we'll come back with you guys and we'll follow this up. We'll finish this thing up. All right. So you guys have probably a 3-minute little break if you want to go get a drink or take a break and use the restroom or do whatever you need to do. I'm going to be out 3 minutes, and then I'll bring you back home. Here we go. All righty, everybody. That has been a great show so far, and it's not over. We got the Bull Printing Wraps and Graphics wrap-up recap. We got the upcoming events segment, and then we have a Rate My Box. Hashtag Rate My Box. We had some brave souls that sent in some boxes And I won't say who they are. We're not going to be mean to them. We're going to be polite, and all we're doing is giving them an appearance score based on the photo that I post. That's going to come up a little later. But first, here we go. Let's share some. Let's share the screen. Here we go. Slides. And we're going to go the Bull Printing Wraps and Graphics Wrap-Up Recap, sponsored by Bull Printing Wraps and Graphics. In the Champions Barbecue Alliance last weekend, we had the LTX Barbecue and Rodeo. This is an event held by promoter Mike Olson. Did a phenomenal job. The Grand Champion was a reserve Grand Champion last weekend in Tomball VFW. Drank, and he followed it up with a strong Grand Champion. I'm talking about my friend Josh Hale with Sure Shot Barbecue. The RGC was my good buddy Phil Breeden, LC Barbecue.
I'm Phil Breeden, owner and founder of LC Barbecue, and you're watching the So Smoking Good Show.
All right, over to the Knights of Columbus, number 3201 Barbecue Cook-Off. The Grand Champion was Eric Riojas from Come and Taste It. And the RGC was Tim White. He's in the comments right now with Bearded Barbecue. He's going to be joining Team Come and Eat It at Memphis in May next week. Or in 2 weeks, sorry, here we go. And over in the IBCA, we have the annual Freestone County Go Texan Cook-Off. The Grand Champion was Steve Granite from No Quarter Q. The RGC, look at her again, just killing it right now. Amy Wilson, Crooked Crown Cookers with the RGC. Bob Wills Day Barbecue Cook-Off. The Grand Champion, David Underwood. Potbelly Stallions. The RGC, Freddie Gonzalez from Freddie Do Barbecue. I like that name, Freddie. Good job. In the Buda, over in Buda, Texas, the Buda Lions Country Fair Barbecue. The Grand Champion was Malcolm Kitchen from Cast Iron Cookers. The RGC, Tim Balch from Balch's Blazing Barbecue. We had the Chris Velasquez Memorial Cook-Off. Grand Champion, Autumn Moran from Grim Reaper Barbecue. The RGC was Alonzo Cantu from Gulf Coast Smoke. And we had the Smoke on the Water Grand Champion. There he is. He's still, I don't know if he's still in the comments. Ed Foster, Nine Finger Q. The RGC was Chris Wilder from Texas Barbecue AF. I do like that name, Chris. That is a cool name. Let me pull something down really quick. Boom. There we go. All right. And over in the Lone Star Barbecue Society. It's 2 weeks in a row, Lone Star. None of your results were up. Goat and Barbecue, German Fest, Runnels County Film Festival. None of the results were up. And over in the Outlaw Barbecue Association, there he is, Outlaw Smoking for Limbs Grand Champion, my good buddy Timmy Esch from Tiny E Barbecue. RGC, back-to-back RGCs, Ricky Bocanegra from Weed and Boys. And over in the Freedom is Not Free Spring event, the Grand Champion Tommy Smith from Bent Nail Barbecue. RGC was Cy Ellaby from Crockett Creek Q. All right, that's what's going on in the Bull Printing Wraps and Graphics Wrap-Up Recap. Congratulations to all the winners of that. And we're now going to talk about the upcoming event segment, sponsored by the Briscoe Ranch Cook-Off at the Crossroads. Let me pull that up. Here we go. All right. This weekend over in the Champions Barbecue Alliance, we got the Grimes County True Blue Foundation in Anderson, Texas. For those that are wondering, that is where I will be. I will be in Grimes County over in Anderson, Texas at the Grimes County True Blue Foundation. That is close to me. I have a baseball game Friday with my son, so I will be dropping off, going to the baseball game, and headed back. So that's where I'll be. Over in Bishop, my buddy Roddy Trevino is running this one, the Bishop Wild Horse Desert Roundup in Bishop, Texas. There you go. And in San Antonio, we got the Lots, Stock, and Barrows Cook-Off in San Antonio, Texas. And in Del Rio, we got the Hookers Annual Barbecue Cook-Off. That's what it said, Hookers Annual. Del Rio, Texas. That's what it is. If those Texas state icons indicate the top three are state championships, Grimes County, Bishop Wild Horse Desert Roundup, and the Lot, Stock, and Barrows. Those are all Texas state championships. So if you're chasing chips, check out Champions Barbecue Alliance. Over in IBCA, we got the Chigger Hill Cook-Off in Huntsville, Texas. We got the Cinco de Mayo Cook-Off in Goliad. We got the Crosby County Farm Bureau Scholarship in Crosbyton, Texas. That is a state championship. And in League City, we got the League City Music Festival. Over in Lone Star, Rogers Springfest, Rogers, Texas. That is a state championship. We got the Howdy Roo Cook-Off in Marble Falls. That is also a state championship. We have the Texas Mud 14th Annual Cook-Off in Brushy Creek, Texas. And we got the Best of the West Cook-Off in Midland, Texas. There you go. Midland. Where you at? There you go. Over in the Outlaw Barbecue Association, there is Smoking Guns in Canton, Texas. All right, that's gonna wrap up that's it. Yes, that is all for the Briscoe Ranch Cook-Off at the Crossroads upcoming event segment. If you guys have cook-offs, there were like 6 state championships on the books this weekend here in Texas. Get in where you fit in, and they would love to see you guys. All right, Linda. Hello, Linda. How are you? Let's see. Runnels Film Festival Grand Champion was Joey Fuentes. Greg Beast Barbecue. Congratulations, Greg. Loans LSBS Grand Champion John Truesdale. Reserve Grand Champion Chuck and Vanessa. Good job. All right. Let's see who else. All right, that's it. All right, guys. Get on Lone Star, man. They need to put their results up. It's a Wednesday. Those ended Saturday. I'm not calling them out, but I'm kind of calling them out. They need to get their information up so I can present this to you guys on Wednesday night. All right, let's see what I got over here. I got some comments. All right, here we go. All right, there we go. Oh yeah, Josh Hale won one of the boots from Ty Cobb, and grabbing the briskets. What's up, man? What is up, guys? I appreciate you guys. Gooder Gang still sticking around. Hour and 20 minutes in. We're going to bring our guest back. We got Grant Pinkerton. He is ready to go. Mark is still taking a break right now. But what's up, Grant? How are you, bub?
I'm pretty good, man. I'm just looking through all those results. I'm going to San Antonio this weekend to cook at the Lot Stocks and Barrows.
Nice. You're going to be a lot of Stock and Barrels. You know, I kind of touched on this. What as a restaurateur, somebody that's very successful running restaurants, and I'm sure you're busy. What attracted you? I'll bring Mark on as well. What attracted you? Hey, you got a blow pop. I like it. What attracted you to competition barbecue, or what got your interest peaked there?
Man, that's a great question, because almost nobody who's in the restaurant field in Texas really cooks competition barbecue, right? I mean, it's a very, very small group of people.
We've seen cooks that go into the restaurant scene, right? You know, like Ernest Cervantes, one of our more famous ones that have been a very successful cook, been there, done that, and then he opened up Burnt Bean, which is a great restaurant, phenomenal place. But we don't really see guys that started out doing restaurant and then kind of go in there. We saw Ronnie Killen kind of do it, and I haven't seen him very much lately. I know he still does it. He's a great cook in his own right. But what kind of piqued your interest there, or how'd you know about it? What'd you find out about it? What kind of brought you into this kind of scene?
Well, back before I started the restaurant, I would go around and do some competition stuff, but I just love to cook in general. And the thing that I tell people about restaurant barbecue is, you know, just like everybody, we're cooking barbecue for people to eat a whole tray of. You know, we're trying to honor our traditional Texas cuisine and put out the best tray of Texas barbecue that we can every day to kind of put on for the state, right? But I love to cook, and I love flavors, and I love, making sauces and seasonings and all this kind of stuff. I love the chemistry behind barbecue, and I like the science behind it too. And so competition barbecue is a really great outlet for me to kind of get creative, kind of do something different. When you cook a billion salt and pepper briskets day in and day out,
What happened?
I don't know. He said he mentioned salt and pepper, and then he went dark. I'll wait for him to move a little bit. So, Mark, Memphis and May's coming up. Do you even, is it like exciting for you anymore?
Oh yeah, it's always there's a lot of nervous anticipation around this park, this change in this park this year in this venue, and all of the worry about the load in is going to be different and how's it going to be muddy, and there's a lot of nervous anticipation around that. But the rest of it, no, it's not a big deal other than that.
Yeah, I mean 98 to now, you've done it a few times now. I'll know whenever Mark's going to present, and I will be in. Because it's pretty neat. I don't know if it's still the same. I went in, like I said, 19. It was different than what you described is going to be this time. Maybe it's more. Maybe we can see more of it or whatever. But it's fun to listen.
The best.
Yeah, but it's fun to listen to you guys present, man. It's amazing. Like I said, that is a whole thing we don't have to deal with. We don't have judges in our face where we have to describe, how we sourced this meat or how we got it. What we did to it throughout the whole process, what we're serving to you, and presenting a story prior to them even taking a bite. We don't have to do that in our contest that we have here, and it's really unique to Memphis and May, and I guess the Memphis Network does that. Is that where it came from?
Yeah, Memphis Barbecue Network came when when Memphis and May quit sanctioning contests. Memphis Barbecue Network started up, and really the only difference that they do, the way they do things, the only difference is that they allow you to cook a pork butt, and they also only do a blind turn in for preliminaries. So Memphis and May, there's a blind and an on-site judging, and then for MBN, they just do a blind preliminaries, but they do on-site finals.
Very nice. Very nice. All right, guys. So I did tease that we have some brave souls that have sent. So we started this last week, guys. Oh, before we do this, I want you guys to think about, so this is something that a good buddy, Barefoot Cookers, he wanted on the show. And Mark, you're going to have a unique perspective to Grant, because Mark, you've been doing competition barbecue for a long, long time. And it doesn't have to be competition barbecue, Grant, but we want to know your Mount Rushmore barbecue. That's the 4 people that inspired you, that you maybe look up to, or that people that have been a big influence in your barbecue journey. And you know what a Mount Rushmore is. Who are those 4 that have really inspired your barbecue journey, or who had a lot to do with what you got going on right now? And y'all think about that real quick. I'm going to pull up these rate my box. This was a fun deal that we did last week. We're going to do it again right now. And we'll get it up really quickly. Add an overlay. Y'all bear with me while I get these up real quick. And I've got 3. And I don't know who. I do know who, but I'm not going to say who they are. If they want to claim them, they are welcome to do so. This is the hashtag Rate My Box segment. We're going to go chicken. We got a chicken. We've got a rib. We got a rib box, and we have a brisket box. We'll go chicken first, and I'll pull this up, and I'm going to give you, like I did last week. I did 10 seconds, and I want you guys just on that initial, because that's pretty much what a judge is going to get. They open the box in front of them. They're going to get 10 seconds to look at it, and then you get to judge. Mark, you're the KCBS world, but you've done CBA. So in CBA, we have a 10 is the best score, 9, 8, 7. 10 is excellent. You have 9 is good, fair, and poor. Excellent, good, fair, and poor. So 10, 9, 8, 7. All right. First one is up. I don't want you to blurt it out. We're going to let the Gooder Gang put their numbers on there as well. So I'm going to pull this up. Gooder Gang, you do your thing. Here we go. First one is up. Chicken. Kind of hard to see that one as well. It's like it looked better earlier. I mean, it looked clearer is what I meant to say. I know we need a pork box. Carlos, if you got a pork box, send it to me. All right, I'm going to pull this down. Gooder Gang, put your comments in there. I'm seeing a 10. I'm seeing an 8. 10, 9, 9, 8. Grant, what's your score?
I'm gonna feel a little nice here and give a 9, but I don't love that box.
Okay.
But I try to take my necessarily personal out of it.
Yeah. What didn't you love about it?
Kind of just, I mean, it was a little bland. It didn't really look like barbecue to me. I don't know. It's kind of flat in color. I didn't see. I don't know. It didn't pop.
All right. Mark?
I'm saying with 9. I mean, it was a little bit light, so it looked a little bit, a little bit too light. Where like the skin was going, it just looked like the skin was going to be a little tough. I'd like to see a little bit more color, and it looked like it had around the breast. It looked like it had a funny line, like there was almost skin missing from the thicker part of the breast. So there was
me personally, I would give it a 9. It kind of looks splotchy, where the thigh and the breast met.
This is gonna sound horrible, but the sauce kind of had a ketchup-y appearance to it.
Yeah,
it did. Bill's checking it needs a filter. Yes, it does, Bill. Yes, it does. This is interesting to me because I turn in a lot of halves without wingtips. He gives an 8 because no wingtip. All right. Well, that's something to think about. I purposely cut off my wingtips just because I want to present a nice breast to the judges without seeing the wing kind of covering up. But hey, it may look odd to some people. So there we go. All right, we're gonna go ribs next. Let's see. We will do a pork box. We do have the pork box. Okay, we got 2 pork boxes that somebody have sent in, and I'll put those up here in a minute. First, we're gonna go ribs. Man, those are some pretty pork boxes. All right, let's see. Hold on one second. Sorry, this is as we go. Oh, Mark is the guy to judge these 2. All right, so I told Stacy to lay off the ketchup. There you go, Brian Keene. All right, the next one we're gonna do is ribs. And again, here let me if producer Ty can pull that comment down, I will show the ribs next. I'm gonna give you all about 10-12 seconds to look at it. Here we go. All right, I'm going to pull this down. There's your look at the rib box. Boom. Let's see what the Gooder gang says about that rib box. 8, and you can't do 8.5, Brian. There's an 8, 9, 8, 8. DQ, no foil. It has nothing to do with foil. This was I guess a non-sanctioned cook-off. 9.4 does not exist. 8, 8, 8. So I'm seeing a lot of 8s. I'll let you go take this one. No, Mark's gonna do the next. No, Mark, take this one. This pork. Go for it.
I give it a 9. I mean, it'd be nice. It's got a good color.
Yep.
They look nice and meaty. The edges are all kind of splotchy. They didn't sauce the cut edges, and you can see the sauce kind of fold over there to where it kind of messes up the edge, and they're not all cohesive together, and they're kind of, you could look like they're from different racks and kind of a little uneven. So they look appetizing, but there's not exactly perfect.
Another DQ. Another world champion chimes in with a DQ. Grant, what'd you think of that rib box?
I'm not as nice, man. I'm an 8 on that one.
All right.
It's just they look kind of dry to me. I know that's kind of a weird critique, but just looking at the edge, the meat color looked kind of off to me, and they're a little dark.
Yeah, kind of yellow looking, isn't it?
Yeah, they have a funny look to the meat. I don't know. Didn't look appetizing.
I would go 8 just because I didn't like the unevenness of it, and they were kind of falling over. And
you get to sauce those edges,
and it is just an appearance score, guys. We're not being mean. We're helping everybody out here with our scores right here. This is what we think right here. All right, the next one. Let me pull these pork boxes up because I got 2 good pork boxes. And we'll normally do 1, but we got the Pork King here. Let's see here. Let me pull this up real quick. Y'all bear with me while I pull these. These just came through. Boom. Boom. And if anybody wants to claim them, like I said, y'all are welcome to in the comments. We're going to go with number 1. Here we go. 10 seconds on the pork box. Boom. All right, I'm going to pull that down in about 3, 2, 1. Boom. Man, that was... I won't say nothing. We're all judges. We cannot say anything right now. 10, 9, 10, 10, 10, 10. The Gooder Gang has spoken. They're still speaking. Grant, what do you think of that one?
I give it a 10. I like the way that box laid out. I liked how it had all three. Give me 3 kind of different options to eat off of too.
Harold Williamson, explain yourself. Just because I would like to know what turned you off on that. Mark, what do you think of that box?
I'd give it a 9.
Okay.
And I'm going to say if it was just money muscle, I'd give it a 10. Because the center pieces, the little cubes in the back, they just looked a little tough, but they were real cut uneven. The center portions of the tubes in the center, see, they're all kind of stringy and laid out, and part of the center meat is laid over on the money muscle. So
that bothers you, that little strand there.
Yeah, all those little strands that are laid off in different directions. All those fibers should be going the same direction, and nothing should be laid off like a parting of the hair over there. So if it would have been just money muscle, man, I'd have got a 10 for me. But that's my philosophy: give the judge less to look at, and what you put in the box, make sure it's perfect.
I like it. There it is from World Champ. All right, we got one more. We got 10 seconds on this one. Here we go. It's a little hard to see. It's not up close and personal like the other one was. All right, we're going to pull that down in 3, 2, 1. What happened? Oh, that was a comment. Let's go. Let's pull that down real quick. That last box, I would have scored that a 10. I appreciate your comments right there. That was that's pretty, and I think a KCBS, like a seasoned American Royal KCBS judge that comes in and drives in and flies in for those things are going to ding you for those things. All right, Gooder Gang, what was that box? That last box right there? They're chiming in. I'm going to be harsh, but 8, more of a 9, inconsistent size. Seasoning looks grainy, messy, pulled. Take a comb and brush it back. All right, there you go. Fred Robles, world champion, checking in. 9, 8. Oh, I think here we go. 9, 9, 9. This is the second box. 9, 9, 9. No 10s. Sloppy place, Daddy Dutch Barbecue. Mark, take that one first, that last box.
Same thing. Turn that straight money muscle and you got a 10. All those haphazard placed pieces in the center, it just looks like there's pieces missing out of a puzzle. So it takes away from it. You'd have filled the box with money muscle, I think it would have been great. Or if you'd have just hidden some of those chunks in the back, just the center took away from it.
Settle down, Daddy Dutch. Center looked like ass. Money muscle looked decent. Bobby Stewart, he loves this. I do too. I think this is great. It's great. We're just trying to help some cooks out there. Grant, that second pork box.
No, I didn't love it, and it's probably an 8. 8 for me. It didn't look full. There was like a random piece of money muscle in the center against that back wall that was flipped upside down. I don't know. It's just kind of caught me by surprise, honestly.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's. I don't know. Maybe I'm just nice. I that's a 9 for me for sure. I think it looked okay. It's 9. It's not excellent, and it's good because the next ones are fair and poor. So that's where I would be. Mark said it perfectly. Pieces missing from the puzzle on this one. There you go. I agree with Mark. I mean, y'all should. He knows what he's talking about. George Douglas, exactly. What's up, George Douglas? That's a new name to the show. Welcome to the show. We do this every Wednesday, 8 o'clock. You can find us here. All right. Clay, you don't suck at this. It's your opinion. That's why this is what happens. A little rushed, says Cesar Mahira. All right, last one on the hashtag Rate My Box segment. And it's going to be a brisket box. So we hit all 4 today. And let me find it. Here we go. 10 seconds. Here we go. Three, 2, 1. Grant. Well, let's see what the Gooder Gang says first. We'll let the Gooder Gang chime in real quick. 10. Come on, Gooder Gang, do your thing. A lot of 10s out there. 9. We got a 9. It's a 10. Jared with a 9. Cesar, Jared, Josh Hale, 9. 8. I think he's fucking with the 8. Foil is shiny side up. All right, Grant, you're the brisket man. Let's go. What do you think of that one?
I didn't love it. I'll be generous and give it a 9, but to me it looked kind of dry and it was pretty splotchy. I don't know, man. That's just me. It's like one of those things when I open the boxes it made me want to jump in. Not really.
Mark?
Man, I'm hesitant to give it a 10. It's right on the edge. If I could give it a 9.5, I think I could. That would be it. But I'm with you. A little splotchy on the front, but it looks appetizing. I think it'd be good. I think it'll be a good entry, but probably not.
It's probably 10 for me. I'll give that a 10. Just because it looked the uniformity of all the slices. I see what you were saying about again, we're seeing a photo. The back slices have some shininess to it. What do you guys think of a lot of fat on the bottom of your slices? Gooder Gang, chime in on that. When you see a bunch of fat on the bottom, this guy trimmed a lot of the fat off. There's some fat on the bottom, which I'm fine with. I'm actually fine with the whole, seeing a lot of the point.
Man, I used to leave that on there all the time, and then this season I just started lopping it off after Houston and done well since. So I don't know. It's like don't put things in the box that could potentially ding you. Yeah. And if you get some old timer on the table that he doesn't like fat, I'll love it. I would love to open a box up and be able to eat that part because if the lean tastes great and the fat's buttery, to me that's if I get 10 thumbs up, that's it, Yeah. But don't put stuff in the box that could potentially ding you.
Mark, I think in the KCBS world or maybe Mark's world, fat is probably a no-no. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, in KCBS, I would turn it in just like that with that little ribbon of fat on it. But every time I've cooked CBA, IBCA, Houston, our back slice is that part you talked about that's got that thick piece of fat and a piece of the point on it. Yeah. And the further you get toward the front, the closer it gets to looking like that. But the further back you go, it's got a bigger piece of fat closer to the hinge you get.
Fat needs loving too. I like my women like I like my brisket with a little bit of fat on my end. Yes. What's that butter in the background for? I didn't notice that. Half an inch of fat max. Used to put flat and point. It's one of those things. Don't give them too much to ding you on. Mark, what's your philosophy on burn ends? And Grant, you too. Now we can turn in burn ends in the CBA.
Hey, I've turned in an entire box full of burn ends and won first place before. When the slices weren't right, you turn your best meat. Right. If the burn ends absolutely blow me away, and I can slice them and they look great, then I'll turn them in. But I used to cook them every time because I would cook a full brisket and I'd separate it and cook the point and the flat. But these days, all I'm doing is cooking a trimmed Wagyu flat, so I haven't turned in burn ends in a few years.
Grant, this is kind of new to us down here in Texas, burn ends. You probably dabbled in doing it and trying it and checking it out. Have you been brave enough to turn them in a contest yet?
I did. I did them in Alvin. We hit second brisket.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I love burn ends. Hell, I did burn ends for Memphis in May, and I won twice with them. I like burnt ends, and that's kind of my philosophy. I'm going to give you my slices. I'm cutting the fat off the bottom of those slices, but I'm going to give you some money burnt ends in the front of the box. So if you're a person that likes point meat or fatty brisket, your option is right there in the front. If you're a person that likes lean brisket, you're probably going to stay away from the burnt end, and you're going to go for the leaner slice.
Now I've seen slices that are, a brisket slice, which is savory, right? We like our savory brisket, and then you turn around and do a burnt ends in the same box, and it's more of a sweeter, candy kind of meat candy type of deal. Turn in two different flavors.
I'll do it.
You'll do it, Mark?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm not scared to turn in two different flavors.
Okay, there you go. Heading that from some knowledgeable people right now, guys. This has been fun, man. I appreciate both of you guys coming on the show. Mark, this is your second time on, but this is really kind of your first time being on a on the show we do on Wednesday nights. That last time was kind of a remote deal that was kind of last minute deal.
Cool.
And so I appreciate you coming on there and coming back and doing this thing. Grant, your first time on, not your last time on for sure. I will be checking you guys out at Memphis in May. I'll be out there with Joey Machado, with Norm LaPachelle, right? You know Norm. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll be out there with them, hanging out with them, mainly just filming and doing some stuff out here for the show. So it'll be my first time to go. Second time, be my first time to really just go out there and just film and just enjoy myself out there. So I'm excited to come and check you guys out.
You get to meet Mongo.
Okay, who's Mongo?
He's on that team, so you'll know who he is afterward.
I'll know him very well afterwards. All right, Grant, you're bringing a all-star team from Texas out there, so I'm excited to see how our boys do up there as well. So whole hog for Grant, pork shoulder for Mark, the 2022 world champion, going to defend. Anything that I missed that you guys want to touch on? I know Mark's got his show coming up at the end of May. You can find that on the Country Network. You can find that on Roku. Yep. You can find them all over. It's a streaming service, right?
Look us up on Facebook too. We started our own 501c3 nonprofit called Faith and Fires Ministry. So if you see if you've ever been to a cook-off and you've seen someone host a cook's church, that's what we're doing. We are every time we go to a cook-off, regardless, and it'll happen at 8:00 in front of the stage at Memphis in May on Saturday morning. We'll have cook's church. And the whole premise behind Faith and Fires is encouraging other cooks in their travels to host cook church and to gather believers in Jesus' name somewhere that you can take church wherever it is. So we're just encouraging other cooks. We're not the ones that are doing it. We're not looking for the glory. We're looking for other cooks to gather other believers in a cook-off and church where they may not make it to church on Sunday.
That's amazing. That's great. We have Hector of Illinois does that as well down here. So I'm excited to see that you guys are taking that as well and doing it over there.
Anyone that needs encouragement as far as how to organize it, how to put it together, what to do, how to get the word out, looking for encouragement of that they don't feel like you don't have to be a preacher. All you have to do is get the people together and pray about it, and God will show up and say something through somebody there. So we're just trying to encourage other people to do that and stand up and stand out for Jesus wherever they go.
Beautiful. Grant, anything that didn't fail to touch on that you want to bring up to our attention?
I think you got it, man. I hope you come out and hang out with us at Memphis in May some.
I will. I'll be over there. I'll be over there with Team Texas for a little bit, and then of course I'll visit with Mark. Hey, Mark and Grant, both of you guys, thank you very much for coming on the So Smoking Gooder Show. It's been a pleasure. Y'all put out a lot of good information. I say it all the time on the show. Shut up and listen. These guys got a lot of information just by being quiet and listening to you guys. So thank you guys very much. Y'all made the show better, and I appreciate you guys for coming on, man. I appreciate that.
It's fun.
Awesome. All right, we're gonna let you guys go. We're gonna wrap.
What about your Mount Rushmore? Did you come up with your?
Oh, thank you. God, thank you for bringing that up. Mark, go for it. Mount Rushmore.
My first one when we first started, I wasn't a cook. I was a gopher. I took out the trash and set up and tore down, so I didn't know anything about barbecue when I first started. And a guy named Jody Bryant taught me the ropes. His daddy, he's from the Boot Hill, Missouri, and his daddy taught him barbecue. And I learned everything, all of my base of knowledge, everything that I started out with was from him. So from and I guess from 96 to 2000, I learned everything from him. And then we sort of had to start, keep on going under my own steam. So we made it bigger and better for sure, but owe it to Jody Bryant to get me in and sort of putting the hooks in me and getting me addicted to barbecue. And then two guys that, funny enough, back in the day, mentors and encouragers, people that are on the same team now that weren't back in the day. Chris Lilly, one of the biggest names in pork shoulder there ever was. I mean, I think he's won first place world champion pork shoulder 9 or 10 times. So he was always one of those guys that you could come back to and talk to and about trends. And he's one of the smoothest talking guys in competition barbecue at Memphis MA. He's got one of the smoothest presentations ever of anybody that you'll ever meet. I mean, it is smooth and enjoyable and informative and believable. And the same guy that cooks with him now is Danny Montgomery. And back in the day, he was Wildfire Cookers, and Wildfire was the team. He had a partner at the time, but Danny was a big help in bringing me in and teaching me about the cookers that they used and why they used them. And that sort of him introducing me to Backwood Smokers actually got me into doing what I'm doing today, which is selling smokers and grills. So Chris Lilly and Danny Montgomery now cook together on Big Bob Gibson Barbecue. So two of my around Mount Rushmore on the same team now, but back in the day they weren't. And then Pat Burke. Pat Burke is hand in hand, side by side with Mike Mills and the Apple City Barbecue. They're 3 or 4 time world champions at Memphis MA, and mentors, and so many people look up to both of those guys. They're both in the Barbecue Hall of Fame, and so Pat Burke was always that guy that you could go to at a contest and ask for guidance, and he was always that guy that you could show your scorecard to afterward, and he would give you the play-by-play on your scorecard and really tell you why you're hanging your head low. Well, tell me what was going on. I thought it was good. Pat Burke could sit there and interpret everything that was wrong with your product according to your scorecard, and he was a big help in helping me understand barbecue scoring too.
That's awesome. That's what I love about this whole segment, is that everybody's different, right? And you guys brought it up. You've been doing this a long time. You're in another region that we're used to, and so you have some different names out there, and it's great to highlight those people that have influenced you. Grant, how about you, bro?
All right, man. That's a tough question for me.
It is.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's start with some Texas guys here. Kind of wordy answer. I think Wayne Mueller from Louis Mueller and Taylor is a big one for me. I respect. He was one of the first famous people in barbecue that I met, and I met him when I went to purchase my first pit from Close Smokers. My first big trailer pit that I ordered, and man, he immediately very friendly, and I had a hell of a lot of respect for the tradition of that place, but I also really appreciated how he approached barbecue in the business as a whole, and kind of just honored to meet him there, and he's been a great influence for me. The second part is not, this is a name that everybody's going to throw out, at least in our state, but for me, it's not because of the food. The Aaron Franklin makes my barbecue around Mount Rushmore because of the door that he kicked open for all the rest of the people to run through. I think there are better places here. I've long thought that. I think there's people doing better stuff, but man, that dude kicked the freaking door down for craft barbecue and that movement to happen to take us from pretty rudimentary 80s dry style barbecue to the freaking renaissance of Texas barbecue, where it's just kind of exploding across the country. So I mentioned him earlier. For me, my buddy Nick, who cooks for Great Pig, he's the chief cook for Great Pig in the Sky. Mark knows him. He makes my list. I know he's a young guy, but he's a dude who has a tremendous wealth of barbecue knowledge. And for me, has really helped me with pork and understanding barbecue outside of Texas. And he's a guy I talk to almost every day, just straight barbecue stuff. And, he's going to be somebody that everybody knows at some point in time.
Cool.
He's a great dude.
Yep.
Let's see. Number 4. It's a good quote. That was having trouble with my number 4. I mean, there's so many people. I'll say this. It's not one person, but I'll tell you the first place I ever had my barbecue epiphany was at Lum's Barbecue in Junction, Texas, when I was like 8 years old. And it was a place that didn't get much credit, and I used to bang on Daniel Vaughn and some people about going out there and trying it. But coming from Houston, we had kind of an East Texas style barbecue here, and the brisket was very dry. And that was the first place I ever went where I went to it, and they get the brisket out of cooked over the coal smoker, and it's got tons of fat on it, and it just tasted different than what I could get back home. And that's what made me sick for it. I came back, and I was chasing that taste. And so really that kind of got me started. I don't know who was the pit master there or what, but I love to give that place props because in my mind as a kid, that was pinnacle barbecue for me. It was something different. It tasted like barbecue should taste to me.
Awesome. Those are great explanations. Jared McCrory, shout out to Barefoot Cookers. He's the one who said, hey, I would love to see this on the segment on the show. So Lums is great. People are talking about Lums. I love Lums. There you go. Greg Sarkos, Clay Wright. Lums is awesome. Brian Keene, you're on my Mount Rushmore.
Awesome, man. Dude. I appreciate that. You're a great guy.
I'm sure Mark, if people were chiming in, would he's going to be on a lot of guys' Mount Rushmores for sure. He's a legend. Like I said in the intro, he's a legend in the barbecue community. Guys, thank you so much for being on this. A lot of insight. A lot of explanations, a lot of, techniques that you guys shared. Lots of, Mark, you shared the Lambo combo, which I love that. That's awesome. It's been a great show. Thank you so much. I hope to get you back on later down the line. And I'm excited to see the turnout at Memphis. And I totally expect both of you guys to do very well over there.
Thank you.
2 sauces. Turn in 2 sauces, 2.
Yes.
Thanks.
Great advice.
2 sauces. Don't just turn in 1. Turn in 2 sauces. They're going to judge it, and they're going to give – if they don't like the first sauce and they like the second one, they'll give it better scores. But they're going to judge it with the sauce that they like the best. They're not going to mark you down for a sauce they don't like, but they will mark you down if they don't like the one you turn in.
Great advice.
He's full of it. Rob, you're on my barbecue podcast. Thank you, Fred. I appreciate that. All right. Hey, guys, thank you so much. I want to let you guys go, and I'm going to bring top producer Ty on. But, hey, Grant, thank you so much. I will see you soon. I will see you, and I'll see both of you guys in 2 weeks in Memphis, so I'll be there. Mark, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that.
It's fun, man.
Absolutely. Y'all check out Mark's show coming at the end of the month at Barbecue Country. We'll see it. All right, Mark, thank you. Grant, thank you very much.
Thanks.
There they were, Mark Lambert and Grant Pinkerton. Mark was spitting out some information. Let's bring producer Ty on here to give his little Ty, what did you learn from Mark and Grant, bro?
I'm telling you, seeing Mark and Grant, it's just really cool to see their insight. It's good to see people sharing some of their tactics, techniques, and procedures in the cook-off, and it's really cool to see all the camaraderie and the talk. People coming in saying how nice these people are. I mean, there were so many people saying how nice of people they are, and they're world champions, and they seem to win a lot. And some people you hear they have a huge personality, or some people you may hear you don't come around them during turn in, but all you hear from these guys is how nice they are and how they kick doors open. So I
didn't even mention Mark when he won first place ribs. That same day, I was sitting there with Robert Smith at the American Royal, and I told Mark this story before, but I was sitting at the American Royal, and Mark was about to trim pork. He was like, "Hey, do you mind if I trim this in front of you?" I'm like, "Do I mind? Do you want me to leave?" Right. But he's like, "No." He just did the whole thing in front of me, and I was asking him questions. He was such a great dude, and that was my first interaction with Mark, and I knew who he was already, and for him to sit there and do that in front of me. And other people, there were other people there too. We were just sitting there asking him questions, and he trimmed his whole pork in front of us, and it was awesome. It was great to see. Kendall's still checking in. I appreciate you, Kendall. Look forward to seeing you. I'll see you here, my man. This is Kendall. This guy presented And that whole presentation deal at Memphis is a tough deal. I mean, you have judges in front of you and you have to explain everything. And Kendall did a phenomenal job. I remember Kendall holding up ribs and saying, yeah, if I did this right, I should be able to just pull these ribs apart. And he did it. And, they all just broke in front. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy, he knows what he's doing. So it's great to get your insight, Ty, after, listening to these guys and doing it. I guess we're a 2-hour show now, Ty. I think so. When you have a 7-time world champion saying, hey, I'll stick around, let's do it. Why not?
Lots of good content.
Yeah, lots of good content. Lots of great deal. All right, guys. So next week on the show, we've got Chris Schaefer from Heavy Smoke Barbecue. He's going to be on the show next week. Y'all know Chris Schaefer from Heavy Smoke. He's the Jack Daniels winner. We're also going to have what many people, including myself, refer to as the GOAT. We're going to have Mr. Darren Worth from Iowa Smoky D's Barbecue. This guy, he doesn't do a whole bunch of these type of shows, but he has agreed to come on the show. So next week, the week before Memphis, none of these guys are going to Memphis. I will be. But we're going to have a great show with Chris Schaefer from Heavy Smoke Barbecue, and we're going to have the GOAT, Mr. Darren Worth from Iowa Smoky D's. This guy's won the Jack. He's won Houston. I'm sure he's won the American Royal. Maybe. I don't know. That's hard to win. Maybe he's won the American Royal. We'll find out. But this guy has been there and done that. And so we're going to have Mr. Darren Worth. So we've had a 7-time world champion this week. And we're going to have like one of, what many regard as one of the best barbecuers out there that's ever done it. So lots going on here on the So Smoking Gooder Show. Gooder Gang, thank you guys for sticking around. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. You guys what make this show happen. So I appreciate you. Producer Ty, it was awesome. Thank you, bro.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe, like, and share on Facebook, YouTube, and Switch. So Smoking Gooder Show. Shut up and listen.
Shut up and listen. And I saw something today that I was shocked that I was sitting on this for over a year. This gentleman sent this to me over a year ago. And before we go, I'm going to play it one more time. Shout out to my good friend, Mr. Darian Cosmo from Cosmo's Q Products.
Hey, what's up? I'm Cosmo, and you're watching the So Smoking Gooder Show. So grab a drink, park your ass, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button and ring that bell so you don't miss a thing.
What a cool find that I saw that this afternoon. I was like, holy crap, he sent that to me a year ago. So to present it tonight was awesome. All right, guys, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for supporting the show. We will see you guys next week with Chris Schaefer and the GOAT, Mr. Darren Worth. We are out.